Let's take a moment of silent prayer or reflection. Terry, will you call the roll, please?
Pat Rooney.
Here.
Alan Ward.
Here.
Kathy Cox.
Here.
Nicole Cohen. Here. John Maston.
Here. We'll stand and join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll entertain a motion to review and accept the agenda.
I so move. Second.
Carrie?
John Maston.
Yes.
Kathy Cox.
Yes.
Nicole Cohen.
Yes.
Pat Rooney.
Yes.
Alan Ward.
Yes.
And with that, we'll turn it over to Superintendent Sager.
Thank you. Draw your attention to our board packet for the meeting on Tuesday, January 16th. We will have a bond update Mr. Murray will be providing, and as we try to do that on a monthly basis, he will be working to keep that to a 10 to 15 minute update as much as possible. And as you know, now things are starting to hop, so there will be some information on that agenda. The consent agenda. You'll notice item 4.1, we have the minutes of our December 19th board meeting, the minutes from the special session on December 5th, and the minutes from the work session on December 12th. Do you have any questions on those? Item 4.1.3 is the personnel report. There are no exceptions to policy in this report. And 4.1.4 are our gifts and donations. Moving into the action agenda, the first item on the action agenda is item 6.1, which is the approval of a lighting upgrade at Lake Havasu High School Little Theater. The theater has not been updated in many years, and it is used by a variety of disciplines throughout the school and through the CTE department. The actual WAVE board did approve this action to be paid for through WAVE. And so it is coming to our board for approval, and Mrs. Becker will be here to answer any questions. And if you do have any questions that we can provide in advance, that would be great.
I'd like to know the state of the current system. I'm happy that they're paying for it, but I'd like to know what the necessity is behind that.
I think it has a lot to do with the actual standards. That's what I was reading.
It does. They're not up to industry standard.
I mean, there's a
the
whole
detail
list.
of the components and the type of components that they're using I don't have, but I do know that their light board is failing and that there are several components that are non-operational. So we could certainly have her bring that information.
And the teacher who is in charge of the program has had the training on this lighting system. He already understands it and knows it.
I do not know the answer to that.
It's probably easier to run this one than it was the one before.
Good.
And then teacher training.
I think maybe, is Sam Brenda still in charge of that? Is he still
He
on?
is the Performing Arts Theater, Center. This is the Little Theater.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is Jason Fallis.
Oh, okay.
And they do a lot of productions. All of their drama productions, their musicals are all in the Little Theater.
Okay.
Item 6.2 are the vouchers, student liability funds, et cetera. Mr. Murray is available if you have any questions.
Can we step back a second? I want to show my ignorance here.
I'm sorry?
Can we step back so I can show my ignorance?
Certainly.
What is a cyclorama?
What is what?
A cyclorama.
What page are you on?
It
You have
may
to ask on
include,
Tuesday.
if funding is available, installation of a cyclorama.
What page is that?
It's the last page of, or second page of 6.1.
Concave curtain. It's a concave curtain.
Is that what
Okay.
Google says?
I saw it here and it said if the funding was available, and I said, what in the world is a cyclorama? And it
Oh,
looks like I
so-
wasn't the only one who didn't know.
Well, what are we going to do for the next 35 minutes? God,
You can make a cyclorama.
Any questions on the approval of vouchers? All right. We would like to ask the board to consider adding another item to the agenda, which would be item 6.3. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Minor to please share that information that we would want to add.
Sure. This is an RFP that we'd like to add, and it is to jump on board with the Arizona Broadband for Education Initiative. And this happens to be the final year for state matching for E-rate. So we've asked our E-rate consultant to create an RFP that will allow us to take advantage of this initiative. And it will construct a new fiber network to replace Suddenlink and/or drive competition to get reduced rates for leased WAN. And we're in the final stages of drafting the terms for the RFP, and it will actually be at zero cost to our district and have the potential to save a considerable amount of M&O annually. Monica has been working on this with Sean Baker. Monica, is there anything you want to add to that?
So the annual savings to E-rate and the district is about $86,000 per year. $86,000 is the total. We pay 20%, E-rate pays 80%. So E-rate is trying to make it so they don't have to pay for something every year that they don't own.
And unfortunately, we're kind of under the gun as far as the dates that we need to have this all turned in, so that's why we needed to add it on Tuesday. So, and on Tuesday, is the E-rate consultant going to be able to come? He'll be here as well as Sean Baker to answer any questions, because Sean and Monica have been working with him to set this up.
So this would replace the point-to-point fiber we have with Suddenlink now.
Yes.
And or drive competition to get
Lower rates.
Saving money.
So what's our pleasure? Do we want to add it?
Make a motion.
Yeah, okay, very good.
And I believe this action item in the RFP draft will be coming to you guys via email as soon as we get everything, probably by tomorrow, we thought, so that you can take a little closer look at
Can
it.
I ask a question?
Maybe.
Is this a last minute thing that has just come up, or have we known about this for 3 or 4 months?
They have been talking about this with the gentleman right before Christmas. Unfortunately, because of winter break, we weren't able to get everything together and get it in preparation for this particular board meeting. We just missed it by a week or so. So
Well, I don't have any problem with this, but I do want to make a statement here. There's an awful lot of things that have been coming up that have to be done right away. And I don't think it's appropriate for the board to constantly face things that have to be done right now. Many of these things we know about well ahead of time. And if it was an email to pre-warn us, we should be able to expect to have time to look at these things, consider them, figure out what a cyclorama is. I mean, if you understand what I'm saying, I was being facetious. But like I say, I have no problem with this as far as putting it on as agenda.
I do think as we're moving through now with the projects, things will come up that are more time sensitive. And one of the things that does cause an issue, which I wouldn't encourage anything different, but with only having one meeting a month, that is a long span in between. And so much like in some of the discipline cases, they're often not urgent, but they're urgent because we can't wait for the full month to do it. So for us, it was either to, like on this example, we talked about having it either a special meeting or just adding it to this agenda kind of last minute, and felt like it would be the better option on this particular case because there's no cost involved to add it to the agenda this time.
I bet we could have 2 meetings a month and it wouldn't cost us $500,000 to do it. Nobody caught that joke.
No.
Nobody reads the paper.
Right, yeah. You sound like Buster Johnson. You related to him?
No.
Okay.
All right, on the informational items, we do not have any informational reports since we just had a meeting before winter break and we were all gone for 2 weeks, so there wasn't a whole lot that happened. We do have our advisory committees set up, so our first discipline committee is tomorrow from 9 to 11, and then we will have a second one as well, which I know you all received on your board calendars, and then our curriculum committee is scheduled for later in the month. So we're starting to move forward with our committees and have had a good response from people who have been invited. I'm very appreciative.
Awesome.
Good.
That's it.
Oh. It looks like our next scheduled meeting is January 16th, 2018 at 6 p.m. right here in the boardroom. Do we have any other updates or announcements from the board?
I have a question. In the newspaper, there was an onion, to an unknown school. I think about rats in a school. Is that one of those schools?
It was.
Okay.
That was addressed. It was at the high school, and so there was
What building?
D Hall, I think it was, the D Hall.
Okay.
They scamper in the administrative office area. There was just a concentrated a gathering of some in D Hall, and so what we had to do is actually bring in an outside agency to come in and completely clean from
But they
floor
still
to
have that
ceiling.
ball python over there they could release up there?
Did you
We've
really
been
used
working,
to have one?
we've been working with that for the last few months and upping our pest control side of things and trying to be proactive on that end.
Okay.
And now we're in the cleanup stage, and so that happened over Christmas break,
Okay.
Were they in the building?
up in the drop ceiling.
Well,
Then, of
that,
course, when you kill them,
yep,
they start to smell.
right.
Yeah.
But that brings to mind, if you're going to allow snakes in the building for kids to use exhibits, which is always good, but you have to feed them rats, and they're inevitably going to escape at some point in time. And I bet you that those rats came from that
Feeders?
yeah.
Do they?
Do they still have snakes at the high school? Do you know?
I don't know if I did. I haven't seen them in a while.
You should not roof rats.
They are.
Because
They
because
are.
the thing is, you're going to have that. If you have citrus and all that, and the last time they had that, they put traps all outside the school and got them. So it's just a type of thing that just like cockroaches, you're gonna periodically get them and you just have to address them. But if they're
Termites.
roof rats,
They are.
I mean, it's gonna be there.
In our pest control that we've been using over the last few months and having a more concentrated approach and trying to get rid of them that way, they said that it's a problem that's throughout this city. They said that it's everywhere from the south side of town
they
to
are.
down.
They're
to the-
especially prevalent this time of year,
With the ripening of
because
the
when you
fruit.
start getting cooler weather, they start looking for places to get into. I just wound up wiping a whole nest of them out of underneath my house.
Well, now, that's an example of the kind of thing that I, as a board member, would like to be informed of. If it's something that's out there, it's not one of our schools, that, some kind of a notice to the board that this is not one of our schools where this is. I would like to know that. I don't know how we make that happen, but I would request those kinds of things that we
Via
do.
email, yeah. or
Just an
But
email.
you're talking about in response to the Onion?
Is it somebody's job to read the Onions every
No, I
day?
don't.
I didn't see it until I just heard about it, just actually the other day when this project was now complete.
It was about 2 weeks ago, I think. And since I didn't hear anything, I assumed it was not one of our schools. So I just totally forgot about it. But then I thought, what if it is? And of course, I'm asking at a public board meeting, which I would have just as soon as I had not. And if I had known about it, I wouldn't have asked. I mean, that's all I can say.
You can send an email when you see something like that.
I could.
It was addressed over Christmas break.
Okay, that's good to know.
Everything, all roof tiles were replaced. That and I think it was an adjoining closet to that classroom was completely cleaned from top to bottom.
I think Kathy has a good point, though, and it's something that just will take time, and we'll all have to get to know each other. But when something like that comes out, if Diana sees it or you see it, it's prudent to send an email off to the board members, because we're going to be dealing with the people on the street, and just say, yeah, those were our rats, but we've got to take care of blah, 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 blah. And this will take time for us to get more comfortable with each other, but it is important, because when we start getting asked questions, we need to be able to show people we know what's going on.
I know, I think for most of us, we don't read that, and so it would also be helpful, and we don't always get all the papers here either, so some of them we get, but some of them we don't. So if you find something like that and have a question, if you'll shoot off an email, we'd be happy to let you know. It's not I don't think anybody is trying to hide the fact that we have a rat problem, so.
No, it's just, I'm just saying, as a procedure.
Well,
If
you
I
can
see
bring
it,
it up
I'll
tonight.
email you. If you see it, you email me. And that way we're all working on the same platform.
Well, on a more positive note, I just wanted to mention that we have a student that got a perfect ACT score. Perfect. Out of 2 million kids in this country, one of them came from here, only 2,200 and 2,235 out of the whole country got a perfect score.
That's pretty good.
So I would really appreciate an email when we have a person that gets a perfect SAT score.
I'd suggest to our new president, to approach the board to cut a letter.
Faith Mendoza.
Well, could we have her come to a board meeting and on a short one like next week?
I think it's amazing.
And honor her.
I think we should honor her at a board meeting, but we should also present her with a congratulatory letter, something for her college application.
It's amazing.
So
And I'm not a test person, but I still think it's amazing. Especially because she said she didn't really have time to study for it.
So we could certainly drop a letter on behalf of the board.
I don't know, you test our nerves all the time.
I think that's fantastic. Don't you think that's fantastic? She was so busy, she didn't have time to really study for it, and she was nervous about it. She gets a perfect score.
Introduce her to my kids, will you? All right, do we have anything else? Anything further? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion with you.
That's how you,
Carrie?
Kathy Cox,
Yes.
Pat Rooney,
Yes.
Nicole Coley,
Yes.
Alan Moore,
yes.
And John Massey.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
It is.